Hi guys, Professor Latimer here, the CC mom who loves science. And today I'm going to bring you CC Cycle 1, Week 9, Hands-on Science Experiment. And that is the crayfish identification. So you can find some information about this experiment in page 120 of your Foundations Guide. So for this experiment, you'll need probably some plastic gloves for the kids, and they'll need paper and pencil. And then, so for each student, they'll get some gloves and maybe like some plastic tweezers. And then depending on how many students you have or how many crayfish you have, you could have them in pairs, and each pair get a crayfish, and they'll look at it together and kind of work together to identify the parts. I recommend having a diagram of the parts of the crayfish. There, you can find these online or CC Connected, or I'll post a link to this one in the description of the video. But you can have this with each pair of students so they can look and identify what the different parts are. So you'll probably also want like a plastic plate or some kind of plate or tray to put the crayfish on. So each pair will get their crayfish on a plate, and they'll have the chance to kind of identify some of the parts of the crayfish. And we'll talk about what's similar to other animals that they know of. Like, okay, a crayfish has eyes. Well, what else has eyes? Or, what else has pinchers? Like a lobster or a crab. And a lobster is in the same order as a crayfish. So you can talk about your memory work, the domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. So there are animals that have similar characteristics in the same order. So like the lobster and the crayfish. So those are some things you can talk about. You can talk about maybe where do you find a crayfish, or what other kinds of creatures may be similar, like the crab has pinchers. So you'll have them take their tweezers. They can kind of move things around. We're not dissecting this week. We're just observing the outside. So yeah, and they'll just identify some parts. Some of the important parts maybe to mention are the antennae, and those are used for feeling and, for balance, taste, and touch. So those are some things that are important. Then we have the carapace, which is like kind of this hard kind of armor shield on top of the crayfish. And then these are called calipeds. The pinchers are called calipeds. And then we have the abdomen back here. This is the cephalothorax. Then we have the abdomen. And then the tail back here is also called the uropod. And that is used to help them swim. And then we have the eyes. So there's a lot of other parts that are identified on here. Their walking legs, their swimmerets. So lots of things that you can identify, and I think that students will think it's pretty cool. So just kind of identifying the parts. And then on their papers, they could even draw a picture with a pencil of their crayfish. And if you have older students, maybe they can draw a crayfish and kind of label some of the parts. So that's something you could do for that experiment. So just have fun with this one. CC Cycle 1, Week 9 Science. So we'll see you guys next time. Bye.